And once again, we are live. It is the 21st episode of Empire State of Baseball on this Monday, August the 22nd, 2022. And we're exclusively on Twitch and powered by StreamYard. Once again, we are back for another great episode of ESB on this Monday evening. Tom, what do we have here? What's going on?
Oh, we have a delicious Natty Boh, the official beer of the city of Baltimore. That's the Natty Boh, man.
The city of Baltimore. Wait a minute.
Oh,
Can we rejoice in the fact that the Baltimore Orioles in our final birdwatch of 2022 have won their 63rd game of the season?
It has happened.
Baby.
5 games over 500. Oh, boys, I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to put my feet up for the rest of the episode. Don't feel like I need to contribute. I've contributed enough to this show with Birdwatch. So I'm going to just enjoy. I'm going to live pleasantly, enjoy this Natty Boh, and just have myself a day. How the rest of you guys doing
today? I didn't. Whatever. But let's go O's. It's all for the Birdland. Joe has lost the bet. Joe, how you feeling today? And what are you doing? You're not in a pinstripe jersey tonight.
No, we can't do it for Mets Yankees tonight. I'm not wearing Yankee gear on Mets Yankees Day. I will wear it next week. I promise. I think the O's are half game out of a wild card spot. I mean,
told you.
Nobody in their right mind predicted that this was going to happen.
Now we have a new Birdwatch, and if they make the playoffs, there might have to be a couple down
I wouldn't have made the bet if I thought the O's were going to win, 64 games this season. I confidently made the bet. Corey was there for it. Rich was not there that episode. I confidently knew that the Birds were going to win more than 62 games this year. Now, did it come a little earlier than I expected? Maybe, but I knew they were not going to be close. I knew we were getting at least 70-plus wins out of this team. Just a great effort by the boys in Baltimore.
On August 22nd than they had the last 4 seasons.
Indeed, they have.
So,
listen, sometimes you play the long game. Sometimes you play the long game and
Well, it wasn't very long for you guys.
Watch them play 19 times a year for the last 20
We'll get
years.
it over with. I'm just glad it's not the last week of the season. They get it, and then playoffs start, and the Mets are in the playoffs, and I'm on the show wearing a Yankees jersey.
You should be wearing it today, but you count out of it.
What's going on here, Joe? So you're gonna be when are you gonna be wearing this jersey now?
I'll go wear it next week.
Okay.
And we had a deal because I didn't wear it today. I will also wear a Yankees hat.
Good.
And I think you also should adhere to the uniform policy, and you should be clean shaven.
I probably should shave anyway. So.
I mean, yeah.
Clean shaven, no hair on the collar. You can keep the mustache.
It will be a Yankees affiliated hat.
No.
You're
not wearing a Somerset Beach hat.
Nope.
You're getting a Yankee hat, you're getting a jersey, and you're shaving your face for next week.
There you go.
You could maybe listen if you got yourself out of it at the last game of the season, maybe we'll let you skate by. The fact that this happened on August 21st, 6 weeks left in the season, you cannot just try to skate out of this and then not doing it the day after it happened.
The 21st, which the Yankees retired Paul Neal's number. And on this episode 21, he could have wore the jersey. It was perfect.
Sure could have.
It was poetic. So for compensation, you're wearing the hat next week. You're shaving your face. All right.
Another thing that shouldn't have happened.
Well,
man,
probably.
I agree.
I was gonna say I agree with that too. Rich and I had a whole episode last year of Yankee numbers that should be unretired. And I love Paul O'Neill.
We can run that back again.
I can bring back my favorite hot take that Paul O'Neill is a more beloved player to those 90s teams than Derek Jeter was because of him being the warrior. I think he's just the guy that resonated with fans more, being a more blue collar, just laying it on the field out there.
I see the point though, Tom, because I remember I thought you were nuts for saying it. And I was like, well, at the time when Jeter hasn't built up this legacy yet, and while O'Neill is the voice and that crazy man, the warrior in the dugout.
The Gatorade cooler. He's an everyman. That's what he was. I think that's why he was so beloved. I don't think his number should be retired. I think they should have found a way for a lot of those guys from the 90s. You give them some kind of plaque, right, to commemorate them. I still think, him, Posada, Bernie. I think
Knobloch to be retired.
Oh God.
Oh boy.
I mean, do you think
father would have a heart attack and he would die?
Do you think part of this the timing of this seems a little sus to me? Because
they announced it before the season started that they were doing this.
Yes, but the Mets also announced Keith Hernandez before the season started. This is what it feels like to me. They had a long time to retire Paul O'Neill's numbers, and as we know, the Yankees are never.
The Mets had a longer time to retire Keith Hernandez's number.
Yes, but we were also owned by the Wilpons, and no one has their number retired.
Corey, I see where this is going.
Oh boy.
So, as we know, the Yankees are not shy about retiring numbers here. I just find it suspicious that we also retire a broadcaster that happens to be a first baseman.
We're not a 2-hour program. We're not going to go there. That is
listen, you're not. You weren't. Listen, you remember you're wearing a Yankee hat next week, not a tinfoil hat. Just make sure you get that correct because it seems like right now you have them confused.
I love it. Corey, how's it going, my man? How's your weekend?
It's going good. Weekend was pretty good. Mets had a nice 3 games out of 4 set versus the Phils, coming off a 1-3 set versus the Braves. So 4-4 in a huge set. Unfortunately, the Braves series went the way I wouldn't have liked it. But listen, you get 8 games versus those 2 teams. I'm pretty much happy. I know a rough start right now for the Metropolitans, down 2-0, but the game's still early, just the bottom of the 4th inning. So plenty of time here.
Aaron Judge with a home run, his first since the Yankees-Red Sox series.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a drought. I've been
a little bit of power drought. You kind of wonder if he's now on that pace to get to the 62nd mark, the 62 mark in home runs.
On pace for 61 again now. He's technically behind Maris's pace, but I think Maris at the end really sputtered out. I guess Maris really should have been on pace to hit more 65. So I think they said Judge is back on pace for 61. Rich, it. Judge is a guy who gets hot, and he's a guy. If he gets hot, he'll hit 6 home runs in a week. He'll have 2 multi-home run games and home runs in the other games, and that's kind of what he does. So he gets hot again. It probably will fall if he kind of just does his normal thing. Maybe not, but we'll see. It'll be exciting.
Home run off Max Scherzer is not an easy thing to do. As a first ballot Hall of Famer in Scherzer when his time comes. Tom, let's stick with the Bronx is burning a little bit. But before we get to that, how can more of our friends, the viewers' friends join us here on Twitch and watch the rest of our show?
Well, listen, friends, I want you all to kind of pay attention to me here. Rich, if you could make the screen bigger. If you all want to see Junior next week wearing a beautiful pinstriped jersey and Yankee hat, and you want to see it live because you want to comment, you want to get involved in the show, you need to download the Twitch app. You can subscribe to Empire State of Baseball. The link's in our Twitter bio at ESB Podcast. It's going to be electric. Joe's never going to look better in his life. He's going to look better than he did on his wedding day in this beautiful, bright white blue pinstripe jersey. He's gonna look fantastic. And you gotta have the Twitch app to watch it live to get involved.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I looked pretty good on my wedding day. My suit was lined with the stars and stripes. So
tomorrow next week your shirt will be lined with pinstripes. So
Exactly.
And of the pinstripes, the Bronx is burning. Our headline in question here is, will the New York Yankees hold on to win the American League East? And obviously, it has been a tough go-around. We've talked about it at nauseum on this show, at least nauseum to Tom and I. But, you got to look at this race here. And at this point in the season, I think the Yankees should not focus on the American League division, the American League leader in the Houston Astros. I feel like that's a lost cause here. I think now you have to protect this division. Beat the teams that are in your division. The Rays and Blue Jays are 8 games out. And just a while ago, they were about 15 and a half, 16 games out. And that wasn't too long ago here, guys. They are off to one of the worst second half starts. They're 10-20 since the beginning of the second half, 13-25 in their last 38 games. So this Yankee team has looked anemic offensively. Obviously tonight, good start. Let's see what happens. But this team has disappointed. So I'll ask Tom here, and then we'll go around the room. Do you have confidence that this team will hold on, find it, get it together, and hold on to win the AL East this year?
I do. Listen, the Yankees have been historically bad the second half of the season. They've been historically bad in the month of August. They started the season, the first 2 or 3 months, historically good, on pace to win more games than any team has ever won before. Is this Yankee team the best team to ever play? No. Are they the worst team to ever play? No. They're somewhere in between, and the question is, where do they land on that in between? Before the season, I think we all would have said this is probably a team that should win 95, 96 plus games. I think that's the kind of level this team is. And if they play to that level, even a little below, they're still going to win this division. The Blue Jays, although just taking 3 or 4 from the Yankees, have really sputtered as well. Obviously, the O's are hot because they're always hot. Red Sox have kind of fallen apart. Rays are kind of getting back up there. But Wander Franco is now, he's been out, but he looks like he's going to probably be out for the rest of the year. I don't know if anyone's going to come get them, is the real question. And they're going to play better than they are right now. This team does have talent. They are a good team, and they're too good to keep playing like this. Hopefully they can continue to wake up. Maybe yesterday a little bit of wake-up call going against top 5 pitcher in the league tonight. Having a 2-0 lead right now. We'll see if that holds. Hopefully get some little bit of momentum, a little bit of confidence going. Go out west. I think that could help them, although normally they play poorly out west. I think getting as far away as Yankee Stadium as possible, maybe get some of the heat off, go have a good trip, come home and finish it up. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
I don't know if the Yankees are going to necessarily lose the division, but the Blue Jays, we've said all along how dangerous the Blue Jays are. If you want to take a look at the Blue Jays schedule over the next 2 weeks, they got 3 in Boston. They got 3 at home against the Angels, who are terrible. Then the Cubs come to town. Then they go to Pittsburgh. And then they go to Baltimore, which is obviously not a cakewalk. And then they got 3 visiting the Texas Rangers before the Rays finally come back into town. If the Yankees do not right the ship, Toronto will be in their rearview mirrors by the end of Labor Day. I mean, that's just a fact. The Yankees have a problem in the lineup. They're not getting consistent play. And in all fairness to Judge, and I will say Judge has had an exceptional year, this is not his fault anymore. He's kind of regressed a little bit, but teams are no longer throwing him fastballs. There is no protection for him in that lineup. And so why in any
I think it's more of that. I don't know if he's regressed. He has no more protection. It's why pitch.
No, right. That's what I'm saying.
So if you can just walk him.
He's dialed back on the 67 home run pace a little bit, but that has to do as much with he couldn't keep up that pace as much as he has no protection in the lineup. I mean, Rizzo's batting 225. I think Donaldson's batting 221. Gleyber Torres has a 298.
Most of the teams between that 215 to 230 range.
You cannot win if you don't hit home runs when the majority of your team is around that area. So it's a problem for the Yankees right now. I think they're hoping Benintendi snaps out of it. That might relieve some of the pressure and build some traffic on the bases. So far, he's only hit about 210 with the Yankees since he's been here. So I think they're really kind of counting on that support. But, they're in trouble. And Toronto's going to come knocking. I don't know if the Rays have the horses in them, but Toronto's going to be there. And if you don't watch it, they're going to be
Toronto never knocks. Toronto has all the talent in the world, and it seems like they always squander it. And they're a scary team, but I mean, they couldn't even make one of the wild cards last year.
Yeah, I think the Blue Jays here, they might close the gap slightly, but gun to my head, I still think the Yankees are going to get the division, and the Yankees are still going to get a top 2 seed in the American League, which right now with the new playoff format is really the only thing that matters. You want to win your division, and you want to be one of those top 2 teams because you do not want to play in the wild card round, which the third and fourth best, the third seed, who's the third division winner, is forced to play in the wild card against the other 3 wild card teams as well. You do not want to be in that scenario. But Yankees right now holding an 8-game lead against both the Rays and the Blue Jays. They actually have a 9-game lead against the next division leader, which is Cleveland in the Central. So I do think that's a good enough lead where obviously could they blow it? Yeah. And we saw the Mets blow a similar type of lead back in 2007. But I think the good news is you're getting Stanton back later this week. He's expected to come back Thursday, assuming no setbacks there. And hopefully that gives you a little more protection behind Aaron Judge. Maybe you force guys to pitch a little more to Aaron Judge, get him going again, get that home run pace back up. Stanton hopefully gives a nice boost you need in that lineup. And honestly, at this point, listen, start calling us on the process, man. I mean, we got a nice shortstop prospect down there. Everyone's calling his name right now. Sometimes that's all the spark you need. And we saw the Mets do it last week with Beatty, called him up, and what did he do in his first at-bat? Hit a big home run, and that was the only game the Mets won versus the Braves last week when Beatty played his first career game. And they won that game, I believe, by 1 run. It got a little dicey there at the end. But listen, I do think the Yankees hold on. They're very, very fortunate that they built an historic pace in the first half of the season because it has been a very brutal second half. But like Tom said before, they're somewhere in the middle. No one thought they were going to be the best team in history, and no one thought they weren't going to make the playoffs. They were somewhere in the middle of that range. I do think they hold on, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Blue Jays make it interesting into the second half of September.
And I think you made a great point there. You made a few great points there, Corey. We look at the trends over time, and I just don't think teams just lose an 8-game lead when we're talking about the end of August and the season's dwindling down. It is actually tough for a team to lose that race. But with the way the Blue Jays have played and the way the Yankees have played, it's easy to sit back as a pessimistic Yankee fan and say, oh, well, the Blue Jays can get right back into that race. And I think they will make it close. I think the Yankees will hold on at the end of it. You mentioned the prospect. And yes, the coveted shortstop prospects that the Yankees have in Anthony Volpe, who I feel is at least a season away. Peraza, I don't think got this call because I think they want a solidified starting position for this player on this team. So they went with Oswaldo Cabrera last week. And honestly, love the dynamic Cabrera's brought. He's played great defense. He's already covered 4 different positions out of his first 6 games, which I think, Tom, is the first in Yankee history to do that. Oswaldo Cabrera has brought a little bit of flair. He's got a little bit of that Juan Soto shuffle, but he's a player that the guys, the veterans especially, can just rally around. You love to see that heart and hustle from a young guy like Cabrera. And I hope that's the sort of move the Yankees going. The Yankees just recently recalled Clark Schmidt up. Ron Marinacio's back on the team, so you got some bullpen bolstering. You did lose a couple of guys to the IL, including Albert Abreu today, and Scott Effross as well. So the Yankees are shuffling the team to see what's going to happen. And you mentioned Giancarlo Stanton. He's due to make his return this coming Thursday. He's finishing up a rehab stint in Somerset. So some troops are coming along for the Yanks, but they just got to play better ball. And I know that sounds so easy to say, but everything's just gone wrong for this team over the last month.
Yep.
And,
if they don't play better ball, none of it matters.
None of it matters.
If they play like this, obviously it's a wrap. I just don't think they can continue playing this bad because this is historically horrible. They can't be that. They're not this bad. They're a team that's slumping. They're slumping together, and they need to break out of it and hopefully getting a nice win yesterday and could maybe put some games together here and then go west and get rolling again. I still think the Yankees really looked at August as spring training, looked at it as March, which is wrong. I'm not saying it's good, but I think they realized they would have kept Stanton on the IL until the middle of September if the Yankees were still rolling right now. He was a bit of in case of emergency break glass early situation.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, imagine.
I think there's a little complacency with the Yankees. They built such a big lead, and they had, and a lot of fans even had this mentality. Tom, you were one of them. I don't care about Houston right now. I don't care about the Mets right now. I just care about staying healthy and finishing out the year. And nothing else matters. And now all of a sudden, you've realized you can go into a slump that other teams have gone in, and now you got to turn it back on after you basically shut down and are trying to coast to the end. And I don't think it works like that. These baseball nowadays, everyone everyone can see what you're doing every single day. So chasing somebody down is a lot different, I think, than it was, in the pre-social media day. The only way what another team did was by reading the newspaper. Nowadays you see everything
existed in 2005.
You know what I mean? But an 8-game lead feels a lot tighter than it did years ago.
Well, an 8-game lead feels a lot tighter when you're 2 and 13 in your last 15 or whatever they are. That's when it feels tight.
Yeah.
If the Yankees were playing, if they were playing over 500 ball, you'd feel great
Different
right
story.
now. The only reason you don't is because they're playing so poorly.
And I'll tell you what, imagine how the mood would have been too if they didn't have that huge comeback against the Rays. I believe it was last Wednesday night when Donaldson hit the grand slam. Oh man, that would have been insane.
But again, Corey, the 2 wins they've had over the last week were stemmed from a big hit that came at the right time. And that's simply not going to win you enough baseball games nowadays.
That's the problem.
He needs to build up early leads. And again, tonight they grabbed a 2-0 lead against Surge, which is great. Domingo Ramon's doing a job right now, trying to keep it in tow. But right now, that's what they need to do. They need to get out early. They can't just keep relying on the epic home run late in the game anymore. It's just not going to win enough ball games.
Yep.
So we'll see how the dynamic goes. And obviously, we're going to talk a lot of Yankees in a little bit in our big segment tonight, the 3 Up, 3 Down, with our confidence rankings. We got a couple segments to go before that, but let's turn it over to Joe, who's got our follow spot today. Joe?
Okay, you can follow us on social media. Follow Empire State of Baseball on Instagram at ESB Podcast. You can follow Corey at G Gory, myself at JR Pugs, Rich at Rich J Rivera, and Tom at 2Spill. All on Instagram, all on Twitter. You can follow us there and get our daily updates, live tweets, opinions immediately. You don't have to wait until Monday each week to hear from us.
If you want Junior's opinion, you also can go to your local dumpster and ask it what he thinks about just about anything.
Good one.
Oh, boy.
Next segment.
All righty. Our next segment, we turn it to John Hernandez, who's got the fantasy hot corner. Unfortunately, I'm having a bit of technical difficulties over here with the speaker. So we're going to just go we're fucking all over the place here, guys. What the hell is happening? All right. We're going to turn it over to John now with the fantasy hot corner. Here we go.
What's going on, ESB crew? Let's jump right into the fantasy hot corner this week with a fantasy spotlight on someone local. Nestor Cortez has been phenomenal this year for the Yankees, going 9-4 with a 2.68 ERA, 132 strikeouts, and 131 innings pitched. The most innings he's ever pitched in his career, and the Yankees have to be thrilled with the production that they've gotten out of him despite their offensive woes. For the pickup this week, let's go out to LA, but this time it's going to be the Dodgers. In his return, Dustin May went 5 innings strong, 0 earned runs, 9 Ks, and with the injuries to Clayton Kershaw and Walker Buehler, and a team that has World Series aspirations, the Dodgers have to be happy with the production that they're getting out of Dustin May, and hopefully he can help them out big time down the stretch. Let me know what you guys think, and as always, let's effing go Mets.
All right.
Yeah, I love it.
So, John, of course, huge Met fan, but also huge fantasy baseball owner and aficionado, and that's why he has a segment here on ESB. His spotlight is Nestor Cortez Jr. So he puts the biases aside. He has Cortez as his fantasy spotlight. And honestly, Tom, I mean, you can't say enough about the guy Cortez. You know, he had a little bit of a blip where it seemed like the league seemed to figure him out. But Cortez is kind of back on a good stride right now in his last few starts with the Yankees.
Yeah, they showed, I think, during the game yesterday that since the start of the 2021 season, he is the best ERA in the AL. It's incredible kind of what he has been able to do. And you're right, he did kind of hit a bump of the road there. And he's worked on improving and reinventing himself. That's going to happen with any players that break out. You know, pitchers or hitters, they usually have something that works. The league figures them out, and then it's what's your next move? Do you fizzle out, and then is that the kind of the end of your run, or do you figure it out? It looks like he's figured it out. Again, kind of like the start of the Yankee season. Is he going to be at the beginning of the year? He had like a 1 ERA. Is he that pitcher? I mean, no, he's not. But he could be. He still should be a very serviceable player, a good pitcher for the Yankees, a guy who they're going to count on down the stretch, and they're going to have to count on as we get into the playoffs, especially with someone like Frankie Montas really just not looking good in his first couple starts.
We'll talk about it in a little bit. Now, Corey, Dustin May, someone who the Dodgers probably weren't even expecting to be a factor into their rotation this year, given the guys they've had in the rotation. Walker Buehler and Clayton Kershaw. Not expecting them to be out for an extended period of time, especially Buehler. Now, Dustin May is in a position where he can get some big time starts for this Dodgers team. What do you think of Dustin May?
That's true. Listen, if he's still in your league and he's available on your free agent market, I definitely agree with John. I think it's a great gamble to go out and get him if he's still available. Because listen, on that Dodgers team, especially if you're a fantasy league that runs with wins as one of your stats, you have a legitimate chance to get a W each and every night. Even if you're giving up 4 or 5 runs, you're probably going to be in line for a W because that team just puts up runs every day. Every time I look at the scoreboard, I feel like the Dodgers have put up a 10 spot.
Corey, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. Holy shit, IKF just hit an extra base hit, and he hit it in the air.
I don't know why you're saying holy shit.
IKF is terrible.
I don't know why you're saying holy shit.
Extra base hits.
He's the
Sorry,
man.
it's like Haley's Comet. This happens like once every 9 years or whatever. So it's a miracle.
He's the fourth best shortstop in the American League East. He's the man. Let's go.
Yep.
IKF, baby.
Yep. But listen, there you go. IKF. Listen,
what do you got? Bo Bichette below him?
No. Who's the shortstop of the Orioles?
Our boy Jorge Mateo.
Is Jorge Mateo the shortstop over there?
Yeah.
I guess maybe it's the worst.
That. Listen, I'll tell you what. If IKF is available in your free agency and fantasy, why don't you go scoop him up now?
Yeah, if you're my brother-in-law and you're thinking like, oh, the playoffs are starting and I kind of want to impact bat at shortstop, pick up IKF. He really could turn it around.
Yep.
Love that man.
Yeah,
Love
definitely,
that,
for sure.
And for the Dodgers to be in first place and to think that their starting rotation was going to include Julio Urias at the top, followed by Tony Gonsolin, then Andrew Heaney, then Dustin May. I don't even know who their fifth starter is. Who's their fifth starter?
Joey Gallo.
And Joey Gallo in their outfield, and they're still the best team in baseball.
And how about Andrew Heaney? Because a lot of Yankee fans did not want anything to do with Heaney after last year as well. So
I don't blame him.
I don't know what the Dodgers. They have something going on out there. It has to be illegal. Like they're able to take these true, just absolute garbage players.
Oh, Tyler Anderson was the other pitcher I missed, who's an all-star.
Andrew Heaney was an all-time bad pitcher. And Joey Gallo, over 162 games, wherever he was there for the Yankees, was, I think, the worst player who's ever played that many games with the Yankees.
The Dodgers,
and they go to Dodgers, they just figure it out. I don't know what it is.
Dave Roberts, one of those organizations, man.
Is it the ocean breeze? Is it
something about that Southern California weather? But then you
can't
say, but ironically, you can't say the same for the Angels, who have just as good as weather as the Dodgers. So I don't know. Maybe it's not the weather. Something they're doing there.
The Dodgers just have a knack to getting the best out of their players. You think over time, just Justin Turner, Max Muncy, Chris Taylor, guys are just left for dead. Like you don't even think twice about them, and they just become all-star players on the Dodgers. It's amazing what's happening over there.
Listen, the thing with the pitchers is these pitchers having great years, but as a Dodger fan going into a postseason series and Tony Gonsolin and Anderson, these guys are not. My confidence isn't as high as it would be with Walker Buehler and Kershaw leading the way. And it's in the division series. I mean, we talked about this with
Joe
the
with a surprisingly not ridiculous take. He would rather have Walker Buehler than Tony Gonsolin. Okay.
Well, I just again, sometimes I think when you rely, and we see this with the Yankees, when you rely on guys having special seasons and they start defaulting back to the average that they've been their whole career. I mean, we had this with Tyone at the beginning of the year. Everybody was saying how great of a pitcher he's turned into. And that's gone by the wayside. So if I'm the Dodgers, I'm still a little nervous. These guys have pitched out of their mind. They've gotten unbelievable run support. But, in a short series, am I trusting Tony Gonsolin to be my ace in the NLDS or NLCS? The answer is no. So, we're going to find out.
Yep.
Tom, do we have a Benintendi highlight right now?
We do. Benintendi hit ball down the line, 3-0 Yankees now.
There we go. Love it. There it is. 3-0 lead in the Bronx, bottom of the fifth inning. Yankees and Mets playing the second part of their Subway Series at the stadium. So we're going to get into 3 up, 3 down in just a moment. And it's been the first time we've done this segment since the episode number 9, which is all the way back on Tuesday, a Tuesday edition of the show on May the 31st, the Memorial Day weekend. Yep. Corey, what's the best way for our fans to view that episode number 9?
Well, definitely go ahead. I'm sure you all have the YouTube app downloaded on your phone. So go ahead and find us on YouTube. You can find all of our full episodes and some great clips. Again, Empire State of Baseball is on our YouTube page. So go ahead, go on Twitter, go get the link, look at it on the app, and go like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, sir. 3 up, 3 down. What do we got here, Corey? What's 3 up, 3 down all about?
Yeah, 3 up, 3 down. Again, what we're going to do, we're going to run through the Mets and Yankees. Rich and Tom will go ahead with the Yankees. Me and Joe will go ahead on the Mets. And we're going to do a little bit of what we think is going well, what we think is not going well, and what has improved since we had that show last Memorial Day. So we're going to start off first. Which position do we think we have the most confidence currently right now in our team? We'll then go to least confidence, and then again, once more, most improved since we did the show on May 31st. But Rich, Tom.
Oh my God!
Oh boy!
No, that stayed in the park.
You got me so excited, Junior.
Oh boy! Well, I'll tell you what, Tom. We'll go ahead and start with you because
why are you throwing Judge fastballs?
Yeah, it looks like he got on.
Why? Well, I don't understand it. He hasn't touched a slider from Scherzer in 2 games, and that's the second fastball Judge has almost hit out of the park. Why are you even bother throwing it? First base is open.
I mean, listen, if you want to just DFA Scherzer because he clearly can't pitch to Aaron Judge, I think it could be a good move.
But Scherzer gets himself in trouble because he's got this false bravado that he could throw a fastball by anybody. The slider works. Why are you messing with the fastball? Let him, if you're gonna walk him. Go after Rizzo. Rizzo struck out twice against you today.
Thomas, kick us off here. Which position do you have the most confidence in?
I'm most confident in wherever Oswaldo Cabrera is, whether that's at shortstop, whether that's at third base, whether that's in right field. We were talking about he started in 4 positions in 6 games already and has made an unbelievable play at 3 of them. The Rob the home run. He pulled off the Jeter throw. He made the great catch on the tarp. He hasn't been hitting great, but he is putting together pretty decent at bats. I just have confidence that he's bringing energy. I like it looks like the candy necklace he's wearing. It looks like it has the colorful candy on
that
there.
That is a candy necklace, isn't it?
I think it's probably not, but in my mind, it is a candy necklace. And that every time, Junior's upset, so I'm.
No.
Oh my God!
Is it a Rizzo bomb? I changed my answer. I'm confident in Anthony Rizzo hitting this ball over the fence.
That was
here it comes.
CP home runs.
Oh no! Is Marte good? Oh damn, he did catch it.
Damn, let it go right to the fence.
Yeah. Anyway, as well Cabrera, he's bringing fun. He's bringing excitement. He's got a hit, and I hope he's also then proving to the Yankee front office. Let's bring some of these kids up. Let's get some energy into the stale team right now. Oswaldo.
I love Oswaldo, but I like to stick to the rules here on 3 up, 3 down. So I'm going to pick an actual position. I actually changed it. I had a set 3 that I was looking to talk about. I changed it minutes before the show. I'm sticking with outfield as a position of most confidence, and mainly because, of course, Aaron Judge, the soon-to-be hopeful American League MVP. But listen, Benintendi's looking like he's starting to turn around. I don't think we Yankee fans were expecting Benintendi to have such a slow start. It could be those first few weeks of jitters. I think he's going to start turning it around. He has already proven that over this weekend and in this game, especially with the double. And obviously, that other outfield position is a little wacky. With Cabrera's out there, it's Oswaldo. Stanton's coming back soon. I hope Aaron Hicks doesn't see what a baseball field looks like anymore. But I'm going outfield of position of confidence on the New York Yankees. Joe, let's turn it over to the Mets side here. What position do you feel the most confident in with your current team?
Max Scherzer's fastball.
So I was caught between the two, and in the end, I'm going to go with the fact of a durability standpoint. The start and pitching is not going to get there just because of that durability concern is always kind of lingering over it. But the position I am most confident in right now is the closer position with Edwin Diaz. He has been nothing short of automatic. Yes, he did give up a run yesterday, his first run in 2 months. Still locked the game down, still saved it. So for me, that's my top confidence position. I know that when those trumpets sound right now, the Mets have this game in the bag. So we'll see what happens. But for right now, that's my confidence. It would be the starting pitching if I had 100% assurance that Scherzer and DeGrom are going to stay healthy. But I think there's always that loom over your head that they're not going to, that is a possible issue.
All right, Corey?
Yeah, I mean, the closer position itself, I 100% agree. I mean, Diaz has been phenomenal, but the bullpen as a whole really has been very inconsistent for the Metropolitans. I mean, they can go out and get 3 scoreless innings, and then they can go out and get shelled before it even gets to Diaz, unfortunately. I was also debating between starting pitching and actually the managerial spot, because I thought Joe Buck, again, was such a phenomenal pickup for this team, exactly the type of leader they need.
I agree. I'm a big Joe Buck guy myself.
Why did I say Joe Buck? Why did I say Joe Buck? Well, all right. Well, not Buck Showalter, but I did go with the starting pitching, though, at the end of the day. Because, listen, I know he's getting a rough game right now, 3-0, but Scherzer, DeGrom looks to be healthy. Bassett's been great. Even last week, I mean, you lost Carrasco. He's going to be out for a few weeks. Taijuan Walker only missed 1 start, luckily. But then you had some spot starts. I mean, Trevor Williams in a spot start had a good outing against the Phillies. I just love this starting staff. And Joe mentioned before, in Dodgers, are you going to trust Gonsolin versus Scherzer or a DeGrom in a potential big playoff series? I'm going to go with the Mets in that type of matchup. So I'm going to go with the starting pitching, but I can't disagree with Diaz either. Him in the pen has been absolutely out of this world, but the bullpen as a whole has been shaky.
All right. Now, let's keep the positivity going here, Tom. And which position do you feel has improved the most since our last 3 up, 3 down?
So it's kind of going up and down all year, but I'm going to take the starting pitching. They started the year incredibly well. And then it seems like kind of how the offense has been recently. They all fell apart. They were all getting shelled, including Garrett Cole, which was not something you want to see. What I want to see is Andrew Benintendi catching the ball. Thank you. But then they've rebounded. They've actually pitched really well as of late as a unit. I think they're kind of getting back in their stride. We did talk a lot about this season. A lot of these pitchers have pitching innings that they haven't pitched either ever before or not for a long time. They maybe hit a wall, and it looks like they've kind of gotten past it. They've gotten over that wall. So the starting pitching for the roller coaster that they've been on, I do feel pretty good with them at this point.
All right. And I'm going to go with the battery here, Tom. The position that I feel has improved the most is catcher. And the Yankees have gotten pretty lucky with their catching scenario, considering that they went into the season with 2 backup catchers essentially sharing the duties. And who would have thought that Jose Trevino would have went on the run that he has into an all-star campaign? And yeah, there was many who expected a slowdown. I expected a slowdown from Jose Trevino, but over his last 30 games, and unfortunately I couldn't do the splits from the last 3 up, 3 down. Over his last 30 games, this guy's hit 320 as a catcher. I mean, he's been awesome for this team. The catching position was one that the Yankee fans had thought like this was going to be a need for the deadline. Wilson Contreras was going to be a target, and it ended up not being the case at all. I'm glad it wasn't. Jose Trevino, this is his job. He's running with this. He's having a whole lot of fun, and we've gotten a lot of improvement out of that position since the last ranking. So I'm going with the catching position. Joe, for the Mets side.
Yeah, so I was originally just going to go with the shortstop. I'm going to actually go with the middle infield, quote-unquote, battery or double play combo. Francisco and Lindor and Jeff McNeil have improved so much versus where they were last year. I mean, you think about last year where Lindor hit 20 home runs, 63 RBIs, hit 230 with 322 on base percentage and an OPS plus of 100 even. Right now, he has 21 home runs, 84 RBIs, a 274 average, and an OPS plus of 127 this year, and is playing a Gold Glove caliber shortstop. McNeil has improved just as much, if not more. Last year, hit 251 in an extremely disappointing season, 7 home runs, 35 RBIs with an 87 OPS plus, has now had 7 home runs, 49 RBIs with 321 batting average and a 138 OPS plus, and has played an unbelievable second base this year. They have been absolutely rock solid for the Mets all season long. They have been absolutely fantastic. If I am not mistaken, McNeil has only made 1 error this year at second base, which goes to show you how solid he's been. They're probably 2 of the best middle infielders in the league right now for any team. That's how good they've been playing. And I'm hoping McNeil can challenge for a batting title as well. And listen, Lindor, we all know that contract. We all know the $341 million number. He is living up to it now. This is the kind of production that you want and expect out of him. So that's my most improved out of them.
Corey.
Listen, if we're looking at this season between now and May 31st, I mean, I think there's only one position that we have to call out as most improved, and it's the designated hitter spot. Before the trading deadline, the Mets got absolutely nothing out of Dom Smith and J.D. Davis. I always thought in my head that might be a decent platoon. I thought J.D. Davis might succeed with the Mets in more of a DH role, not worry about third base, not worry about left field. But the guy couldn't hit a fastball over 95 miles per hour. Every time he was up at the plate in a big spot, I feel like he was swinging and missing strike 3 on a high fastball in the zone. Vogelback has come to this team, and I feel like the guy does nothing but produce. In a short time span with the Mets, I mean, we know that first week or two, he was hot. He was hitting well over 300. Came back down to earth now, but still hitting 286 since joining the Mets. OPS 940 since joining the Mets. And now it's a decent sample size now, not 25 games, decent sample size, 940 OPS from Vogelback. And listen, Darren Ruff, not a guy that, I'm thrilled to have in the lineup every day, but he's a professional hitter, and I actually trust him right now over what J.D. Davis was giving us earlier. The designated hitter spot, light years better than where they were back at the end of May. Even though I was expecting a bigger move at the deadline, I got to give the front office credit here for bringing in 2 guys, and Vogelback especially just seems like a perfect fit for this team.
Oh, yeah. I love me some Danny Vogelback. He's brought a lot of energy to this team. Again, another guy just to rally around. Tom, we have you up to wrap this up with the Yankee side of things. Which position do you have the least confidence in on this current team?
Everything else, basically. Listen, I have no confidence in Josh Donaldson. I think we all know I have no confidence in IKF. I have no confidence currently in Gleyber Torres. Anthony Rizzo, not a lot of confidence in you right now, although I'm hopeful you kind of turn it around. I guess I'm the same way with DJ. He's not playing great right now, but you hopefully turn it around. Essentially, it's everyone else. Everyone else. I don't have confidence in the front office to do the right thing and call up Oswald Peraza. It's just, it's not a great feeling, but when the team is played as bad as it has, it's kind of hard to have confidence in anyone. So basically the rest of the team.
I can still understand them not calling up Peraza here, Tom. Like, at the end of the day, if they don't have a solidified starting position for a guy who should be a starting shortstop in the league, why are they calling him up? When Cabrera could be a guy you could flip to the bench.
Hell of an at-bat for James McCann. I think he was at 12 or 13 pitches against Herman and finally lines a single off Herman's leg. So that was an interesting at-bat, just in case anybody's watching that.
I am not, and I'm going to move on to the least confident position on the Yankees. In my position, I'm not going to cop out like Tom and just say everybody else, as much as I'd love to say that.
That's how I feel.
I'm not going that way. I'm going to just say coaching staff. I think I can't pick out one individual player or position and be like, well, that's why we're losing games. There's a lot of reasons why we're losing games. And I think all in all, I have to blame the coaching here. And I hate kind of get into that. But when your team is going in a rut like this, where are our coaches here? Like, what is going on?
Do you want Boone to call timeout like in the middle of a Josh Donaldson at bat where he swings at the first 2 pitches and misses by a foot each time and say like, hey, Josh, keep your eye on the ball, kiddo?
No, but what is the conversation like in the clubhouse after the game?
I don't know. I mean, listen.
BP, where is the coaching? Why is this team playing so badly?
because they're streaky players is why they're playing badly. Honestly, at this point, I think baseball coaches at this level probably have like the least impact than any other coaches or managers, whatever, in professional sports. I think
I
NFL.
disagree with that.
These are professional hitters. They're professional pitchers. Like they know what they're supposed to do, and they're just not doing it.
Listen, I watched Luis Rojas and Mickey Callaway for the last several years coach this team. The difference Buck Showalter has made for the Mets shows you that the impact of a guy like that makes a huge difference.
I just think it's offensive to the players in the field to say that a 60-something-year-old man coming in is why these extremely talented athletes are turning it around. They also brought in Max Scherzer. They also brought in Marte. They brought in Eduardo Escobar. They brought in a lot of better players, and they had a lot of players who were, a little bit on the youngerish side, like your Pete Alonso really kind of, coming into form more and more as he gets more experience. Listen, I'm not saying Buck Showalter has no impact, but to say Buck Showalter is why they're winning, I think is offensive to the guys on the field who are actually doing it.
But I can see the impact that makes, the preparedness that the players have, the fact that they go out there and they don't see a situation that hasn't been brought up before. We had that play that the Yankees just tried with the pickoff on the appeal to second. The Mets did that in April. The
Mets didn't invent that play. That's a play that's existed in baseball. Anthony Rizzo is
you never see that play.
Anthony Rizzo
see that play.
We're not getting. So Anthony Rizzo was because he saw Buck Showalter and he said, Buck Showalter, I'm going to run this. Or no, Anthony Rizzo is a very talented, a very experienced veteran who knows the rules.
All right,
and did his best to take advantage of it.
I'll give you another example, right? Ground ball, Nimmo's on first. Ground balls hit the second baseman into the path of the runner. Nimmo goes down instead of giving himself up. What happens is it causes the second baseman to miss the tag. They did this twice against Atlanta and made it successful. That Atlanta missed the double play because the second baseman doesn't go all out to tag him. The runner gets safe at first. Nimmo gets up and proceeds to second base. There are two examples of that happening against the Braves, and it won them the game in one of them because it was a one-run game that made the difference. This team is prepared. The fact of the matter is the Yankees have been trying to fire Boone for years, Yankee fans, all right? And every single year we have this same conversation of this anemic Yankee offense just going into complete dry spells. At some point, the common denominator has to be the manager, the coaching staff, something. Something's got to change because this continues to happen. This happened last year. This was the topic of conversation all year last year. And you brought in
these players are. The Yankees are a team full of more power hitting guys, guys who aren't usually, you're not going to hit for the highest averages, and they're going to be streaky. That's not Aaron Boone's.
Benintendi comes here, he bats 211.
That's not Aaron Boone's fault. That's not the coach's fault. That's just
he's a 300 hitter. He's not a 300 hitter right now.
IKF has never been a 300 hitter. And
Gleyber Torres has been awful.
Yeah, maybe he's just not very good. I don't know what to tell you. It's not the coaching. These are like the athletes on the field are ones making the differences. You want to say that there's been, Buck has definitely brought a good culture and some accountability into the clubhouse and a professionalism. I'll give you that. But every time a player makes a good play, makes a good read, you shouldn't. That's not always on Buck Showalter. These guys this is their life.
That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying there's a prepared aspect that the coaching staff brings you. And as far as Boone's concerned, Boone has shown a lot of emotional responses up until the other day.
He's a puppet for the front office. That's what he's there for. That's why they hired him.
But that's the difference between a manager and a babysitter.
That's what they want. That's what they hired him to do.
But this team needs a manager. It doesn't need a babysitter. And right now, Boone's a babysitter.
All right.
What he is.
Let's get back to the segment here. Position of least confidence for the New York Mets. Joe, let's go back to you here. Take it away.
I think me and Corey are going to have pretty much the same response here. and that is the bridge to the bullpen, the middle relievers, whatever.
Buck should like coach them better. Then, if he's so good, he makes a difference. He should get into the bullpen and be like, guys, you should probably throw better pitches. And they're like, oh shit, we've just been trying to let him hit home runs.
Joe, don't listen to this tiny man on the screen. Keep it going.
The bridge to the bullpen's been terrible. Trevor May, I cannot wait till his contract is up. He has been downright awful. Lugo's been better of late. I'm hoping Drew Smith comes back and is better of late. Givens is a waste of time. He'll give up a couple home runs, and then the next time out, he strikes out 3 batters in a row. So go figure that. I don't have any confidence to get out in that bullpen late in games before you get to Diaz. And I feel like that's going to be a problem. So that's my, whether you want to call it the bridge, the 8th or 7th inning setup, whatever you want to call it. That's where my least confidence is right now.
Corey, you with him?
I'm actually on a different page. I'm going to go with the catcher spot right now because I had the bullpen grouped as one item here, but the catcher spot has been virtually useless from an offensive standpoint. And I'm not asking to have an all-star performance at the catcher position from an offensive standpoint, but you have to be somewhat productive. And you look at James McCann, and granted, he just had a nice at-bat tonight in this inning here, but you look at the numbers in 40 games for McCann. I mean, he has a 175 batting average. This is your starting catcher. OPS of 495. I mean, this is a guy making $15 million a year as your starting catcher. 495 OPS. I mean, that is dreadfully bad. His defense, I actually thought he was a decent defensive catcher, but he has not been that great defensively. He did have a couple nice throwout, last week in a couple of the games, but I mean, not doing good, McCann. And then Tomas Nido, I think, is the better of the two. And even you want to go to Tomas Nido, 224, OPS 537. I mean, you got to get that OPS to 600. Again, I'm not asking for 800 OPS out of my starting catcher spot, but you got to give me something. It almost gets to the point when I see that catcher spots coming out and we already have one out in the inning and we're trying to start a rally and I see the catcher spots up next, I'm almost like, listen, if the 8th hitter doesn't do something here, I know it's over. And sure enough, last week, what happened? 8th hitter came up. I knew that McCann was on deck and we had a guy on third and no outs. I said to myself, if we don't get a sac fly or a base hit here, we're not scoring this run. Sure enough, did not get the guy in. There's one out. What does McCann do? Strikes out. I mean, it was almost a guarantee what was going to happen. Catcher spot is virtually useless for this team. Luckily, they have the best prospect or one of the best prospects in baseball coming up, hopefully next year. But while the bullpen has been bad, I could at least trust Ottavino. Lugo has been a little better lately. I mean, Diaz absolutely phenomenal in the 9th inning and sometimes coming out of the 8th spot. In the 8th inning, wherever needed, but the catcher spot has been virtually useless outside of a couple of good defensive plays.
What is the holdup with not calling up Alvarez right now?
I think the biggest thing with him is the defense. They want him to work on his fielding more than anything else. You could also make the argument he just got promoted to AAA, but they did the same thing with Beatty, and he was only up for a week, and they called him up to the majors after that. I think for sure Alvarez is on this team next year.
Hasn't he also not been great at AAA? Am I?
He started off a little slow, but I believe he got back. He's doing better as of late, but he did start off a little slow in AAA.
He's hitting 167, and I know it's not everything. You know, it's only in 31 games, but it looks like he's not at this point. I mean, I'm sure he will. He's a top prospect, but he's not really performing to the level that you probably want to bring up a guy, no matter how talented he is, to a team that has World Series aspirations at this point.
Yeah, it's just, I guess it's just strange for me because we could talk about, the Yankee shortstops and know like, all right, well, the Yankees do have some infielders that are holding it down right now on the starting level. But as far as the Mets go,
define holding it down.
Holding it down, Tom. Let's not start this shit tonight.
Just wanted to define holding it down.
The Mets have a glaring hole at catcher, and it just so happens they also have the number one prospect in all of baseball who's a catcher. So that's where I see like the divide there.
Two things that I see when it comes to that is, one, I think Alvarez, you got to remember, Alvarez is 20 years old or just turned 21.
He's young.
He also doesn't have Buck Showalter managing him currently. If he did,
he is 380. Patchen is a very slow developing position in the minor leagues. That's part of it. And second of all, the one thing about McCann, aside, he's had some pass ball issues all of a sudden recently. I don't know whether or not that has to do with the leg that's been hurting him or whatever, but they control the running game at an absolute elite level. The Mets are the catchers are fantastic at throwing out runners, fantastic about the running game, and the pitchers work extremely well with them. Yes, they are lacking offensive production right now. It is a black hole. The reason that I don't have catcher as my number one is, A, the defense has been superb from them on the big sample size level. And two, I know that when push comes to shove, the Mets might have a potential fix for that, whereas I don't know if there's a potential fix for the 7th, 8th inning rolls in the minor leagues.
I think the best shot for bullpen help, and again, this is an if because we haven't seen it, is if Tyler McGill comes up and he ends up hopefully being the 7th or 8th inning guy. But we have to see. First, he's got to get healthy, get him back. I think he's starting rehab or already started rehab, so hopefully he's not too far away. He's got some good stuff. I mean, he's a guy who was, he would push 100 miles per hour from time to time. So I'm hoping he's the guy, but that's an if. It's not a guarantee.
And the other question with that is, are you going to be able, by the time he gets back, to put him in enough high leverage situations that you would trust him in such a situation in the playoffs? It's great to have a live arm. It's great to have great stuff. But if you have never pitched in a 7th and 8th inning in a 1 or 2 run game in the postseason in that level, it's going to be hard to put somebody in that position who has never been there before.
Yeah. So I think the example you're looking at who has is David Price back in 2008, where he pitched 5 games for the Rays that year. Then it was electric out of their bullpen.
Correct.
So it can happen if you come in with electric stuff again without real tape on you. I know that they obviously you have tape in the minors, but it's not the same as major league experience. You got someone with that kind of stuff, you bring them up and just catch lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. I believe Julio Urias did it a few years ago for the Dodgers. Yeah. So yes, it's hard to count. It's hard to bank on that, and that's my nervous.
Yeah, and the postseason is going to shorten your rotation anyway.
I was just about to say the same thing. Yeah, because you figure your rotation, assuming health, you're definitely getting Scherzer, you're definitely getting DeGrom, you're definitely getting Bassett. The question is, I mean, if Carrasco comes back, the question becomes, is it Carrasco or Walker going to the pen? I actually think Walker has better stuff, which I think makes him the better relief option, and Carrasco is the starting option. At the same time, if Carrasco comes back and all of a sudden it's the last week of the year, does he have the stamina to want him to start a game? But it's an interesting dilemma that we will worry about when we get there. For now, we just got to get there. That's the main thing.
And for now, let's get back to our show. We are going to wrap things up with a player to be named later. Before we do that, just make sure to give us some love and some support on all our social media platforms at Empire State of Baseball on Instagram, at ESB Podcast on Twitter. Obviously, you can follow us all individually. And make sure to subscribe to us on Twitch, Empire State of Baseball, and YouTube, Empire State of Baseball. Our scheduling announcement, as we mentioned before last week and in our ticker during the show tonight, our episode number 24 will start a new start time for us here at ESB. It's going to be a 7 o'clock p.m. start time on episode number 24, which is going to be September the 13th. And obviously, that's our way to combat football season and the big games that happen on Monday nights. But starting on September 13th for episode number 24, our show will be at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Same place, same night, just different time. And, of course, we're going to finish our show with a fun segment as always. And tonight, it's a player to be named later. Joe, Corey, what do you got for us on the New York Met front?
All right, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give you a player over here who's actually played, we'll give 1 or 2 hints to start. It was a pitcher, so I know that's going to be the first question.
Tom Seaver.
No, not Tom Seaver. It is a pitcher who had a relatively long career. If you look at the span of his career, 19-year career, he has pitched at least 1 season with both the Mets and the Yankees.
Jesse Orosco.
Negative.
Nice.
That's a good guess, though. It's a
Nice
damn
guess.
good guess, and you know
It is. Not a bad guess.
He probably pitched like
Orozco.
28 seasons. Though. Didn't Jessica Orozco pitch? It was like 48 or something.
Something crazy.
Armando Benitez.
Not Armando Benitez.
Joe, you're guessing? You know this? You not know the answer?
It's not
I do
Cone,
not-
I
I do
imagine.
not
We're not
know
just.
the
We're not
Oh,
just
okay.
doing
Okay.
Cone.
I guess Joe's in this as well with us. So
Is it Al Leiter?
It is not Al Leiter.
We're not going to go that easy. We're not
But-
doing Cone. We're not doing
Too
Leiter. We're not
significant.
doing.
Did play 19 years.
I'll give you another hint. He actually split his career almost evenly between NL and AL, slightly higher with the National League over the course of his career. However, he did play significantly more seasons with the Yankees than he did the New York Mets.
okay.
More years with the NL, but significantly more with the Yankees than the Mets.
Huh.
Would it be Mike Stanton?
It is Mike Stanton, the relief pitcher.
The Met fan gets it.
I didn't know. I
All
didn't
right,
know.
that's a bigger Yankee name than he is a Met name.
Stanton.
I didn't know he
Damn.
played for the Mets. That's why I kind of.
Mike Stanton played with the New York Mets
Later
in
in
the
his career?
2003 and
Okay, it's later in his
2004 seasons. Actually
Mike
pitched pretty
Stanton.
well.
Mike Stanton's coming off rehab on Thursday.
Sure is.
Yeah, you got the other one. Other Stanton is coming back. But yeah, Mike Stanton, how about that? Played 12 years in the National League, 7 years in the American League, or excuse me, but he played 7 seasons with the New York Yankees. It was actually 9 in the AL. My apologies. 7 with the Yankees.
Oh,
He's part of the dynasty, and Junior just
Popped. Junior just popped today.
I was gonna. Yeah, that's probably a better way to say it.
Yeah. But yeah, Mike Stanton, significant part of those dynasty Yankees.
There's
as
your
a reliever.
confidence meter going down.
I mean, look, Marvin Gonzalez has to call him off there. So if Pete Alonso is hustling, he should be on second base. But what do you want from a Buck Showalter led team?
Moving on, player to be named later on the Yankee front. Now, this guy has had 12 years in the big leagues, former player, but 2 separate stints with the Yankees. And I'll give you the years: 2006 and 2008.
Somebody left.
6 and 8 with
Pitcher.
the Yankees.
Did
Left-
he be
I'll
a
give you
free
that too.
agency or did he get traded?
I believe
it was a free agent both times, right, Tom?
I think he was traded the second time. I think
Yeah.
the first time.
No. He was a free agent both times.
Free agent both times.
Free agent both times.
Position player or a pitcher?
Yeah, I mentioned it before. He's a pitcher.
Okay.
I don't know if there was a gap in
This
his
guy
Yankee tenure. but it was-
never was an all-star.
I was going to say, I don't know if there was a gap. Well, yeah, I was going to say Kyle Farnsworth, but
A
don't
good
know.
guess. Again, you're in that time frame, but not Kyle Farnsworth. Looking in the
6
chat here, it's definitely not Andy Pettit.
Jingming Wang never came back after he left,
No,
did he?
no. Wong.
After he broke his
Go!
foot, rounding third.
It's gone!
See, DH, the most improved spot for the New York
Pull back!
Metropolitans.
Big boy!
Was it a reliever, Mr.
Starting pitcher.
Starting pitcher. Yeah.
Starting pitcher.
pitcher.
Ooh, that makes it more interesting.
Yeah,
Starting pitcher.
He's a starting pitcher, and predominantly a starting pitcher throughout his career.
Okay.
So
I will.
He won 91 games in his career. So although he never made an all-star team, he was a very serviceable pitcher in his career.
Sergio Mitre.
No.
Very good guess, but not Sergio Mitre, nor will I mention that fucking asshole on the show. So
I know.
that's the last time you'll hear his name.
Yeah. But it's like of that era.
Okay, I'll tell you.
You know, in there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
His predominant team that he pitched for over 8 years with, the Baltimore Orioles, which is
O's watch, baby.
Just apropos for
O's watch. O's watch.
Mike Messina?
Not Mike Messina, no.
No,
I think I would have mentioned the fact that it was a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And also, this guy has never been an All-Star. So
91. That was a rookie. That was a rookie statement. I don't know. I'm drawing a couple blanks.
Who gave up that home run, Tom?
Sidney Ponson.
It is Sidney Ponson.
Good job looking it up, Junior.
Joe is 2 for 2 with the help of Google. Joe is 2 for 2 tonight. Gotta love it. Sidney Ponson, a forgettable, very forgettable New York Yankee. He was horrible in both his stints. A 10.47 ERA in one season. Actually, overall, a 6.63 ERA. Awful pitcher with the Yankees. Had a couple okay, kind of less than crap seasons with the Orioles, but Sidney Ponson
I found a very interesting thing on him as I've been looking at his baseball reference page.
What do you got?
Told me you got. So in 2004 with the Orioles, he led the league in complete games and led the league in shutouts, but also led the league in hits given up and earned runs. That's amazing.
A 5.
You basically you had like 5 of probably the best games of the year in the American League, but also you give up more hits and earned runs than anyone else.
That was a typical Steinbrenner sign-in where he used to sign guys that would just give the Yankees grief constantly and just sign them up because he was sick of playing against them. I think he did it. The Vernon Wells of the world, the AJ Burnett.
Well, I think that was a time where he was trying to strike lightning in a bottle because he did so well with that Aaron Small year, and so he was hoping to get something out of some of these other pitchers.
10 went 10-1 or whatever.
That was the Yankee thing to do. Oh, AJ Burnett beats us every single time that we face him in Toronto or wherever he was. Well, we'll sign him up. Let's go. Yeah, you know that was the Yankee mentality.
I think there's a bit of a difference between AJ Burnett and Sidney Ponson. AJ Burnett was
I'm not saying
very serviceable, very good pitcher, although it didn't necessarily work out great for the Yankees. It worked out well.
But again, more importantly, pitch for these Baltimore Orioles.
There you go. Look at that.
That will not lose 100 games this season. If you tune in next week, Monday,
might win 100 games,
8 p.m. right here on this show, you're going to see Joe in a beautiful Yankee jersey, Yankee hat, and a clean-shaven face. All in this program next week. We can't wait for it. Joe, before we see you with that new look for next week, any final words for our fans tonight?
No, let's see what the Mets can do here. We got some guy I've never heard of pitching for the Yankees right now.
Oh, you're Tom's River's own Ron Marinaccio.
Wait, you're telling me somebody's from Tom's River and it's not Todd Frazier?
Todd Frazier played with stood next to Derek Jeter.
He was a little
and Anthony Volpe. Isn't Volpe also from Tom's River? Right?
I don't think he's a Tom's River kid. I'll ask him tomorrow.
I'll ask him tomorrow too when I see him, because I will be there checking him out, see how he's doing, letting him know that his spot is just kind of it's on hold. He's from Jersey. He was born in Watchung. I don't know if he's
and I'll get paid to do it. Corey, thank yous.
I'm going to thank Mark Canna for having a huge game because, that would have sucked if they lost last night. So thank you, Mark Canna, for the 2 home runs to tie the game and give us the lead in the 9th versus the Phillies. You're the man.
All right, Thomas?
I just want to continually thank my Orioles, really, in a dark time for being a Yankee fan for the last few weeks. The Orioles just really giving me a lot of hope. Birdland came in strong. And let's go O's. Let's get to 80 wins. Let's finish over 500. If he finished over 500, I think we should get a Oriole tattoo on Junior's ass.
I love
just a big Oriole bird.
Hashtag
just
bird
right on the left cheek.
Oh boy.
Well, I want to see that, even though nobody wants to. But we'll see you guys here next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here on Twitch. Thanks again. We love you all. We thank you all. See you here next week. Take care.